I'm here with Manuel Kiessling, who's a software developer and IT manager living in Berlin, Germany. He's also a Leanpub author. We're talking today about Manuel's experiences as a writer, about his experiences using the lean publishing approach on Leanpub, and about some of the interesting experiments he's done with marketing and bundling his book. So Manuel, thanks for being on the Lean Publishing podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me here.
So you're the author of the Leanpub book, the Node Beginner book. What's it about?
Yeah, it's a beginner introduction from a beginner to beginners for the Node.js development platform. I started it as it was more or less kind of an experiment, or I started writing it to myself, for myself, because it was like 1.5 years ago. No, about 1 year ago, I think, I started the book. And at this time, there was a lot of information on the internet regarding Node.js, but it was really very, cluttered. There was some examples there, a small tutorial here, and I wanted to put everything into one place, and so I started this book.
Excellent. So how's it gone so far?
Oh, it went extremely well. I finished it about, I'm not sure, maybe like 10 months ago, and I think it was kind of a success because it was on Hacker News, for example, 2 times, and was featured there, and this brought a lot of visitors. And right now it's, I don't work on it actively, only smaller bug fixes or answering comments on the website and stuff like that. And yet the visitors, the user numbers are still increasing week by week, and so it's developing quite well.
Right. And it's also being translated into Chinese on Leanpub. So how did that come about?
Well, people asked for it. At the end of the day, it's an open source project, although it's not a software. It's just a text, but it's under a Creative Commons license. So people asked if they could help out. Some people just forked it on GitHub and started translating, and then got in touch with me when they were finished. And all I had to do was releasing the book on the website, and for the Chinese version, because China is quite a big market, obviously, I decided to also create a Leanpub book from this version.
All right. Another interesting thing that with the No Beginner book is that you've done some experiments selling it as a bundle along with another book. What led to that?
I'm not really sure who had the idea. I think it was you guys.
I don't remember either.
Bringing up the idea.
It happened.
Or maybe it was Pedro's idea. I'm not sure now. But Pedro Teixeira,
mm-hmm.
I hope I pronounced his name correctly. Pedro Teixeira wrote another excellent Node.js book, Hands on Node.js, and he also sold his book on his website, and then came Lean Bundle, and it sounded like a good idea to bundle the beginner's tutorial and the more advanced and more reference style book by Pedro together.
Right.
And it worked out fantastic. This is what really accelerated sales a lot.
Yeah, we've seen, obviously, as you know, that the bundle is selling more sales than the individual individual
absolutely.
book. And actually, so much so that, as you know, obviously, but that we've let people on Lean Bundle know, but haven't publicly talked about it. That what we've decided to do is basically shut Lean Bundle down and make it into a feature of Leanpub. And the reason for that is that your experiment with Pedro has gone so well that we realize more Leanpub authors should do this. Just like, for example, with Leanpub with variable pricing, once we realized how good that was, we thought, well, more Leanpub authors should look at doing that.
Absolutely.
So, do you have? Okay, so what is in terms of another with variable pricing? I'm actually interested to hear your thoughts on pricing for your book and for bundles, and just generally what you think about book pricing.
That's a very interesting question. And to be honest, I never really thought about it. You know, it just came from my guts. So how should I price the book? How should I price the bundle? People here in Berlin that read my book and the webpage said, a lot of people actually said that I should make it way more expensive, because people read the webpage where the text is available, and if they decide to buy, they do it to say thank you, and right. they would surely they would be willing to pay a lot more. As you know, we never really experimented with different price tags, so no experience here. I think, well, in my case, my book isn't that long. Mm-hmm. So I think it should clearly be below the $10 line.
Right.
But that's just a feeling. I haven't couldn't make any experience with this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, with your book and Pedro's book, for example, like one thing we found with variable pricing on Leanpub is that, for example, if you set a suggested price that's mm-hmm. around double the minimum price or even mm-hmm. triple, that a whole bunch of people pay more than the minimum price, and mm-hmm. and some of them even pay more than the suggested price. Like recently, we've had a couple books bought for $50 and $100 respectively. Wow. And the suggested price was like, $10 or something mm-hmm. like in that range. Like people will overpay, like not overpay as in like, oh no, they were overcharged. People will voluntarily pay more than the minimum price. It's a really interesting phenomenon. Yeah, actually, when we migrate your Lean bundle with you and Pedro over to Leanpub, we might actually want to mm-hmm. revisit that.
Absolutely.
What is, because I think that both of you may be leaving some. So, well, pricing is hard.
Yeah, probably.
The variable pricing we found helps a lot because we realized that authors were leaving a lot of money on the table with fixed price. But yeah, even still, it's an interesting experiment. What has surprised you most about Leanpub, your experiences with Leanpub and Lean Bundle so far?
Well, maybe this sounds stupid, but what surprised me the most is it works. It works at all. I thought, selling my own book, if you had asked me 1 year ago, I would have said, yeah, maybe 10 people. Yeah. Right. Buy this book, and it works so well, and it's such a good user experience, obviously, and especially the new page, the new Leanpub pages are really beautiful, and it works so well, and I never thought that,
Wow. Interesting, thank you. Yeah, we got a designer, as you can tell, recently to work on Leanpub, so it's not just programmer design anymore. It's actually designed. So,
design is the cheapest awesome money can buy.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's fantastic. So, in terms of how we could improve Leanpub for you as an author, is there anything that you wish we'd improve or fix?
When we talked about pricing, I wanted to say that the interesting thing is that as an author, you are like myself. You are a technical person. You're a programmer, and you aren't into marketing or stuff like that. But this changed a lot with the release of the book, with the book sales and stuff like that. And although I didn't get into price marketing decisions and stuff like that, the one thing I really developed over the course of the last months was, working with Google Analytics, thinking about SEO. I never thought about SEO before, and now it's like, to be honest, every single day I have to go into Google Analytics and look, this works better than that, and if I add Google plus one, then this works better for search and stuff like that. And so I could imagine that a lot of authors experience this once they publish their book and have the traffic and have the sales. It's so amazing to look into these numbers, yeah, and to see the relationship between web traffic, sales, pricing, texting, all this kind of stuff. So I think this is an area maybe that could be even more integrated into Lean. Into Leanpub, provide numbers, and you already added the possibility to put the Google Analytics tracking code from the author into the Leanpub sales page, and maybe there's even more to this,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Is there, because this is one area we know we need to do more. So you use Google Analytics, so do we, and we let you put your code in. Are you using that feature?
Yeah, I'm using it.
Okay. Are you, one thing we thought about is A/B testing the minimum price. Or no, it's not the minimum price. Actually, sorry, I said that exactly backwards. A/B testing the suggested price. We feel that A/B testing the minimum price is bad because some people will get upset if they paid more than others, like if they were sort of not forced to, but if they weren't able to pay what someone else paid. But we think that letting authors A/B test the suggested price would help a lot. Would that be something you'd be considering, like trying, or?
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. And I would go even further. I think I learned a lot by while the actual book text remains the same over the course of the last year. I played a lot with the layout and the other texts on the web page.
Right.
And it would be cool to do this in a certain range with the sales page, with the actual sales page,
Yeah, so just A/B testing about the book.
A/B testing the price and stuff like that, but maybe also, putting up different texts, playing around with the layout. Maybe this is something that's worth it,
Yeah, no, I think so. Like A/B testing about the book. We're also looking at embedding, like being able to embed video onto the book landing page, just like letting authors put into their about the book and about the author like video as well, which just get embedded. Cool. One other question I have is, do you want with your book, do you want Leanpub to try to facilitate more community around your book, or do you see like your blogging and Twitter as filling that role adequately?
Yeah, I think so. I think it. Most of this happens. This is the difference to the more traditional publishing. That suddenly the author is a real person who answers questions in the comment section, who's on Twitter, and stuff like that. And well, I can say, at least for me, I don't really see a need for this kind of community around Leanpub, because it would probably, it would split the community a little bit. Like, here is the book page itself from the author. Here's Leanpub. There is a small community there. The other community is there. I'm not sure about this,
Right.
But maybe for authors that don't already have kind of a following and kind of a community, or don't want to invest their time into this kind of stuff, maybe for them that would make sense. Yeah.
Maybe I know. Like we actually sort of, as you know, went back and forth on that. Like we did a bit of stuff, but we realized it was kind of half baked, and the authors who were doing it really well were just using Twitter anyway. So we should just encourage that. Is there anything you'd feel like in terms of Leanpub books, like integrating them more with Twitter and like other social networks, like in terms of either like encouraging readers to interact? Like, I mean, obviously now on your book, on your author information, you can like put your Twitter avatar. Like we have really basic stuff like, hey, here's the author's Twitter name. But would you want more sort of like in the book, like driving readers toward, tweet this, or like here's
Yeah, now that I think about it, I could imagine, there is this about the author section on the right side, maybe having a Twitter stream, a filtered Twitter stream,
right,
box below this section, with some clever search put behind it. It could refer to everything on Twitter where people talk about this book or the author talks about the book. That would be awesome.
Okay,
definitely.
That sounds easy and helpful. Do you have any advice for someone who's blogging about, because for you it transitioned really well, for someone who's blogging about programming topics and considering writing a book?
Yeah, I thought about this lately a lot. I'm currently, I'm probably, if my time allows, I'm going to blog on this too. And the bottom line is, I don't know if this podcast allows any swearing, but the bottom line is just fucking do it, so often before I thought, in the past, when I had an idea or I learned something and I wanted to write about it, so often I thought, but I'm a beginner myself and nobody's going to listen to me. And maybe if I write something and it turns out maybe it's not wrong, but it's not the best solution. I have to wait for the best solution before I can write something. Yeah, that's true on the one hand, but on the other side, just fucking do it, maybe if it's not the optimal solution, if it's not the best out there, there are always people below your own level, even if there are a million of people above your own level. And this is what I think. This is what really changed with the internet or with the World Wide Web, is that now everybody can learn from everybody. Maybe if 99% of your time you are the student and you need teachers, there is this 1% where you can be the teacher for other people, even if you have to learn a lot yourself. And so this is what I suggest, is just write about stuff, accept that maybe it's not perfect. You will get the feedback and you can discuss it and correct it later, and everybody can be a student and a teacher at the same time.
Right. Yeah, there's actually a phenomenon about that, right, where the better you get at something, the more unsure of yourself you are. It's not you know what I'm saying, right? Shoot, I can't remember what the name of it is now. It's hilarious. But they're like, where people who are completely incompetent at something overestimate their abilities, whereas people who are really good at something often underestimate their abilities.
Yeah, so, the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's related to imposter syndrome, but not the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's basically it for me. Do you... so in terms of your future plans, actually, I have a question. One more question. So... Yep. When you started No Beginner Book, Leanpub the idea was to write in HTML, but now we've switched to Markdown, and your book has gotten converted. How did that go? How is that for you now?
Yeah, that's perfect. The web page obviously is still HTML, and now that the text is finished, I didn't take the time to convert it to Markdown, but I do a lot of stuff in Markdown, and it's a way to go. It's way better.
Right.
Yeah, I had a hard time with the HTML, not related to Leanpub, but to the overall page, and it's not so good for the translators, for example. They have to fiddle around with my HTML stuff, and Markdown is the way to go, definitely.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Manuel, for being on the Lean Publishing podcast and for being a Leanpub author.
Thank you.